The mayor is speaking, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Let's go live to Mayor Olivia Chow.
The land we are standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaties signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
Thank you, Shabnam. You always do such a wonderful job. It's much appreciated. So today I am pleased to be joined with Mayor Olivia Chow, as well as the TTC Chair, Jamal Myers, for what, as I said earlier, is going to be a great announcement for transit users across this great city. And I'm pleased to let you know that the TTC is increasing service and revising schedules on our bus, subway, and streetcar networks. And it's starting on September 1st. When fully implemented this fall, the bus network, which has sustained and increasing ridership levels, will have more service hours than it had in place pre-pandemic. Across the system, the service hours will be increased to 97% of pre-pandemic levels, with ridership between 80 and 85% compared to 2019. Now, starting on September 1st, we're going to be providing more room on board with more buses or larger articulated vehicles running on our busy routes. We're going to be improving service frequency and reducing crowding and matching service to ridership demand. We're going to be filling those gaps on our 10-minute network and improving service frequency on routes where demand has shifted since the closure of Line 3 in Scarborough. And we're also going to update schedules to reflect operating conditions and improve service reliability, as well as increasing our subway service on Line 1, Young University, in the busiest times of the day. So it's with tremendous support, I would say, from the TTC board, our chair, as well as the mayor, that we're here today to make this announcement about the improved service across the system. I'll continue to say that, as you've heard me say many times before, a safe, reliable, and frequent transit is vitally important to the success of our vibrant city, and it's considered in every decision that we make and every discussion that we have. I'm incredibly proud of the progress that we've made in rebuilding from the challenges that were posed by the pandemic, and I'm confident that ongoing service improvements and our strategic long-term plans will further elevate public transit here in Toronto. So before I invite Mayor Chow to the podium, I also want to recognize the hard-working people at the TTC who keep this city moving every day. Operating North America's third largest transit system is challenging. So I want to thank them for all their hard work. So with that, I'm going to introduce Her Worship, Olivia Chow, the Mayor of Toronto, to the podium.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning. Thank you, Rick. And good morning, Chair Myers. Though we want the summer to last forever, next week is start of September. It's time to begin to consider how you're going to get your kids back to school, what mode of transportation you're going to take, getting back to work. It's a time for people to start considering transit. And here in Scarborough, people know what it's like to rely on buses to get around the city. And people know the feeling of standing and waiting for a bus at Morningside or Lawrence, watching on the horizon, waiting for the bus to come. And I hear from people, they say they want more bus service. That is precisely what we are doing today. I am pleased to announce that we will have more TTC service starting September 1st. We are increasing the service to bus, streetcars, subways, and right here at this intersection, the bus will come even faster. Every 10 minutes instead of every 15 minutes as we extend the 54B Lawrence bus. And that's up to twice as frequent on weekdays and Saturdays and 20 minutes more frequently on Sundays. Now, there are new neighborhoods and there's new designs, and there will be 16 bus routes which will have increased services, shorter wait times, more room on board. 23 routes will see bus coming more reliably. And if you are transferring at the subway on line 1, for example, it's going to come more often. That's subway cars. Instead of every 3 to 4 minutes, it's going to come every 2 to 3 minutes in the morning subway. So you don't have to wait as long, and there will be less crowding. For line 2, those changes will come in October. And there will be 6 newly designed routes serving 3 areas: Northeast Scarborough, East Scarborough, and South Etobicoke. So if you live in those neighborhoods, let's say by all the condos by the waterfront, and you don't want to endure the Garner traffic jams, there will be special bus services that connect you to key employment, education, and retail areas. And those routes includes a new 154 Curran Hall buses serving the Curran Hall neighborhood just north of where we are today. Now, people in Toronto on average takes 33 minutes to travel to work. That's the StatsCan report that was just released yesterday, day before. And congestion in Toronto is a real problem. And I'm appealing to those that are considering, if you have a choice, to take public transit. I want you to choose TTC, the better way. And as some of you have done before the pandemic, we want you back. That's why we are encouraging you by giving you more frequent bus and subway services. In fact, Toronto have the largest percentage of people taking public transit as the main mode of transportation across Canada. Across Canada, it's 11% of people that take public transit. Right here in Toronto is 22%. That's 2 out of 10. That's good. And in fact, it went up by 2%. So it went from 20% to 22% this year. Just within 1 year, it increased. Why the increase? Because we are increasing the services. And it's direct correlation. And also keeping the fare the same. No fare increase. So while inflation is happening, we are not increasing fares, keeping it as it is, and increasing the services. And in fact, it's happy to note, it's the 4th time that I am here talking about increased services since I became the mayor, because it's a priority for me. I would like to thank TTC CEO Rick Leary and his team, his hardworking team, and TTC Chair Jamal Myers, and all the TTC workers, the bus drivers, streetcar and train operators, the customer service agent, maintenance crew, engineers, all the folks that work so hard to keep our city moving through the better way. Torontonians are very grateful for the work you do every day. So choose TTC the better way.
Okay, thank you very much, Amia. That was wonderful. Now what I'd like to do is invite the chair of the TTC, Jamal Myers, to the podium.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us here today, right here in Scarborough. Today's announcement is great news for thousands of TTC customers, especially those living in Scarborough and the other suburbs of our city. These service increases and improvements are all about getting the basics right for our customers and making stronger connections for communities where they are needed most. It is also about delivering on the promises made to the residents of our city for increased services. These service increases were made possible through Mayor Chow's 2024 budget and the new deal made between the city and the provincial government. Without making the necessary investments to fund our transit and being intentional about continuing to improve transit, great announcements like the ones we were able to make today would just not be possible. This fall, TTC buses will be operating more service hours than prior to the pandemic. New and modified bus routes are being introduced to provide better connections and to make taking transit easier with improved wayfinding and more transfer-free trips. We are also improving the frequency and closing gaps in the 10-minute network. For example, here in Scarborough, there will be improved service on Lawrence Avenue, with the 54 Lawrence Avenue East extending to Kingston Road and Morningside Avenue, bringing 10-minute network service to this intersection. As the new school year kicks off next week, the TTC will restore more than 100 extra scheduled bus trips and make route adjustments so students can board at multiple locations surrounding their schools. And we are launching a year-long pilot program for free transit for grades 7 to 12 student field trips in partnership with the Toronto Public, Catholic, and French School Boards. And I'd like to give a special shout out to Councillor Diane Sachs for helping lead this initiative and bringing it to life. In September, we are increasing subway service on Line 1. At the busiest times in the morning and afternoon rush and during the early evenings, trains will arrive up to a minute earlier than they do today. And we will be further increasing service on Line 2 in October. This means more frequent and reliable trips, shorter wait times, and more room for customers to board. The improvements in time for the new school year and the return of more people to in-office work, they also better align with the growing demand of the more than 2.5 million weekday boardings for people using the TTC. To TTC CEO Rick Leary and his team, thank you for your hard work in delivering another important round of service improvements. To Mayor Chow, thank you for your work in your 2024 budget for, this is I think our fourth announcement now on improved service, so thank you very much. And to all the incredible team of frontline TTC employees, thank you for everything you do to keep our city moving and efficiently every day. Thank you, and now back to Rick.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to just also make sure I say thank you to the Chair and the Mayor for all their support for the TTC in this city. So with that, I'll invite the Mayor to the podium to take some questions.
Hey.
Good morning, Mayor.
Hi there. Good morning.
First obvious question is, how much is all this costing and where is the money coming from?
Let me ask Rick Leary about that.
Sure. It's an additional $25 million that's in the TTC's budget that was placed in for this year through the work the Mayor did with the province to get the funding for the TTC. So it's the continued journey that we're on with increasing the service throughout the year, and it's $10 million overall.
So is it 10 million or 25 million?
Annualized.
10 million annualized cost for the increase in service we're putting in place.
I see.
So 10 million this year, but annualized next year, 2025 is 25.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
10. 10 annualized next year. 10 annualized. Okay. Yeah, you explain.
Yeah, let me just explain that. So as you've seen us put incrementally throughout the course of this year, for the 2025 budget, it's going to be $10 million. We call it annualized because that's the total cost for next year. Yes.
Mayor Chow,
10
you were
million.
saying, Mayor Chow, you were just speaking to the fact that congestion is such a problem in Toronto, and you're encouraging people to take public transit as a remedy to that. Would you say that that is your main strategy in dealing with the congestion crisis in the city, is encouraging people to take transit and making these changes to service levels to accommodate that?
Yes, I think we are actually heading the right direction. Last year, in 2023 May, according to Statistics Canada, 74% of Torontonians chose to drive, and 20% choose to take public transit. By May of 2024, this year, 71% are taking are driving, and 22.7% are taking public transit. So you're seeing we're getting into the right direction. But the congestion, because there are more cars, right? Even though the mode of transportation, it's going in the right direction. But because the city is growing, we have more people coming into the city, the congestion is growing. The average commute time, though, has dropped. Last year in 2023, according to StatsCan, the average commute time in Toronto is 31 minutes. Unfortunately, it's gone up, okay, to 33 minutes. So we're seeing, even though more people are taking public transit, we need them back to the pandemic level. We're still at like 85, 89%. We need that another 20% or so to come back to take the TTC. Then you will see less congestion. We're not quite there yet.
Do you think that the public transit piece is enough on its own to address the congestion crisis,
Nope.
or it's multi-pronged approach?
No, it's multi-pronged approach. You will see a very comprehensive report coming in October. In fact, you'll be able to read it in probably September, okay, end of September. It will include closing the roads when you're doing construction a lot less, because we're going to charge a bit more with escalating price. You're going to see coordination of construction. There are many different ways that we will help on the congestion side. But a key thing is, well, having less car on the roads. How do you do that? Is by having more people take public transit. We're heading in the right direction because of our investment. You know, it's a growth of 2%. According to StatsCan, of people taking public transit, which is in terms of the node of transportation, okay, which is great. But since we're growing, we need to do even more.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Chow, just Mr. Leary's here with you. We know that
We've been listening to the mayor alongside TTC CEO Rick Leary in Scarborough making an announcement in regards to increase TTC service starting on September 1st. Service will increase to pre-pandemic levels. As we're hearing, their aim is to improve service frequency where demand has shifted, and also to update schedule to improve service reliability.